Hey everyone, it's Microcement Hub. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to show you how to apply microcement directly over existing bathroom tiles, both on the floor and on the wall. We've built this model bathroom corner to replicate a real-life situation, including tiled surfaces just like you'd find in any typical renovation project. Step by step, we'll take you through the entire process, from surface prep, priming, mesh application, right through to the final sealing. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast or a professional applicator, this guide will give you everything you need to get started confidently. Let's jump in! For this particular task, we'll be using a selection of our micro cement products. That includes the primer, Fiberglass Mesh, base coat, bonding bridge for the walls, and our heavy-duty PU Fest Turbo Sealer. The next step is to lightly sand the existing tiles. We are using our Honeycomb Diamond Sanding Pad, Grit 50. This removes the shine, dirt, and minor imperfections for better adhesion. You can already see the tiles losing their shine and turning matte. The shine has already disappeared. For textured tiles, you can use an angle grinder with a diamond disc. But for flat tiles, our sanding pad method would be enough to prepare the surface properly. Use the exact same sanding method on the wall tiles as well. The area has been thoroughly sanded, and now it's time to vacuum. If there's any silicone left in the corners, make sure to remove it with a utility knife or similar tool before vacuuming and priming. Now the next step is priming the tiled surface using our surface primer FestGrunt. We're using a small roller here, but for larger areas like a full bathroom, you can use a wider roller to speed up the process. Apply a generous coat of primer and let it dry, usually around 1 to 2 hours. The next step is to premix our wall bonding bridge FestKontakt using a drill and paddle. Although it comes pre-mixed, be sure to blend it thoroughly before the first application. We're after that smooth, flawless consistency. After the primer has fully dried, it's time to embed our fiberglass mesh. We're using the 5-liter polymer liquid. Simply roll it over the mesh to help it adhere smoothly to the tiled surface. It's important to pre-cut your fiberglass mesh before application. It saves time and makes the process smoother. Ideally, this is a 2-person job for better efficiency. Simply place the pre-cut mesh over the tiled surface and roll over it using our polymer liquid, just as shown in this video. For the corners, use a trowel blade to gently press them down and ensure they sit flat. The key here is to apply a nice, generous coat to fully embed the mesh. This is how we use the trowel to press the mesh corners firmly so they sit nice and flush with the surface. Alright, are you still with us, guys? The mesh is now firmly in place and completely dry. If you spot any raised areas in the fiberglass, simply cut them cleanly with a utility knife, then reapply a touch of polymer liquid to secure the surface. Now we'll go ahead and mask off the floor tiles, as the next step is applying the bonding bridge to the walls. We're ready to apply the first bonding bridge layer over the wall. Use a trowel and spread just the thickness of the grain. Don't go heavy. Thicker layers can compromise strength and may lead to micro cracks down the line. Okay, when you're starting the application in the corners, always work from the inside of the corner outward. This helps avoid buildup and ensures a cleaner finish. Take a look at the video for reference, and remember, stick to the thickness of the grain. That part is really important for proper bonding and surface strength. Okay, have a closer look now at how we're applying the bonding bridge. It's the same technique you'll use later with the micro cement. Press it thinly into the mesh. Depending on the type of trowel you're using, your motion might vary slightly, but it's important not to over-apply the thickness. We're pre-mixing the base coat for the floor and starting with liquid, then adding powder. First, add the required amount of liquid. For the base coat, we usually go with about 0.8 kilograms per square meter, using a ratio of 1 part liquid to 2.5 or 3 parts powder. Adjust it to your preference, thicker or runnier. You can also add Fest Timer to slow hydration and get more working time. You can see we've started applying the base coat. Just like before, don't over-apply and press it firmly into the surface. Use the same smooth trowel movements as you did on the wall to keep everything consistent. Okay, both surfaces are now dry and ready for the next step. The bonding bridge, FestKontakt, it usually takes about 4 to 6 hours to dry as it's air-dried. The base coat, on the other hand, dries much faster, and especially without Fest Timer. In conditions around 20 degrees, it should be ready for sanding in just a couple of hours. At this stage, we're only doing a light sand between coats, just knocking off any high spots or rough bits. No need to make it perfectly smooth. We're using the same sander and our 50 grit diamond pad available in our shop. Alright, we're starting the second coat of the bonding bridge. Apply it just like the first one. Nice and thin, same technique. Okay, we're applying the second and final coat of the base coat. Make sure to vacuum the whole area between coats. Once it's dry, apply the next layer just the same. And if it's looking a bit rough, don't worry. The top coats will level it out and give you the proper finish. Now that both base coats are dry, we're gently sanding them down. This time we're jumping up to 100 grit on the orbital sander. It removes material more slowly than 50, but it's much gentler and won't leave scratches. We're just knocking down high spots and rough patches to prep the surface for the top coats. As you can see, we're going gently over the entire area with the orbital sander. For the tight corners, we switch to hand sanding with regular sandpaper. The machine just can't reach every edge. We're now ready for the final top coats, and it's very important to start by pre-mixing the color pigment with the liquid, not directly with the powder. Always prepare just the amount you need because once mixed, the material begins to hydrate and can't be reused after about 1 to 2 hours, depending on temperature. The exact ratios can be found in our safety data sheets, so make sure to review them before mixing. As a general guide, we use a pigment-to-liquid ratio of 1 to 12 by weight. That's important to follow, as pigment is quite heavy and needs to be measured accurately for consistent color. Mix them thoroughly for around 30 to 45 seconds to combine. Start adding the powder gradually and mix for a couple of minutes until it's nice and smooth. It's handy to keep a bucket of water nearby to clean your mixing paddle. It's time for the top coat. In this video, we'll demonstrate 2 separate applications, one for the wall and one for the floor, each in a different color. Later on, we'll overlay both with a single gray microcement to show how well it covers, even over contrasting backgrounds. This can be helpful if you change your mind mid-project or just want to see the coverage strength of the microcement. As always, apply a nice thin layer, just the thickness of the grain. Don't over-apply. And depending on your trowel type, you can use whichever technique suits you best. First top coat is dry. Gently sand with 100 grit diamond pad, clean off dust and apply the second coat just like the first. Alright, we're starting the first top coat for the floor using our bronze FeStfloor color. To keep the color consistent, you can premix the full pigment into the 5-liter polymer liquid. For the floor, we're using a ratio of 1 part liquid to 2.5 parts powder. Add the powder gradually and mix for at least 2 minutes. Depending on the temperature, you can also add a retarder, between 1 and 3% of the total mix weight. Once all the ingredients are mixed thoroughly, we can begin applying a thin layer of microcement on the floor, starting from the edges and corners, working inward. In the next clip, we'll show how we apply it over a larger area. There are many techniques, but we'll demonstrate the trowel movement using our ergonomic trowel. You can try to follow that motion yourself. It works best on flat surfaces like floors or bench tops, and when the microcement is nicely runny. Alright, back to our project. As mentioned earlier, we're now overlaying both the floor and wall with a single coat of microcement to show how well it covers different colors and surfaces. You can already see how well our pigmented S3 microcement is covering both the beige wall and the bronze floor, all with just a single thin coat. As you can see, we're finishing with final trowel strokes to smooth the surface and add texture. In the next video, we'll show you the wet, finished looks. You can see the final coat while it's still wet. The look may vary slightly by technique. Next, we'll show it fully dried and cured. This is our fully cured microcement layer, ready for sanding. For the final coat, we're using 100 grit or higher, depending on your preference. This next step is very important. We've already sanded the entire surface with the orbital sander and used sandpaper by hand in the corners. Everything has been thoroughly vacuumed with a soft brush attachment to make sure no dust remains. Now we're ready for the sealer. We're using our PU Fest Turbo Sealer, mixed at a ratio of 2 parts A to 1 part B. Before application, we prep the roller by wrapping it with masking tape to remove any loose fibers. With this particular sealer, we want to apply a nice, even but generous coat to ensure strong protection and a clean finish. As we mentioned earlier, the Turbo Sealer has been pre-mixed at a 2-to-1 ratio, and now we're ready for application. Start in one area and work methodically. Finish that section properly before moving to the next. Try not to jump around the surface. Once the sealer is evenly applied, you can go over it one more time, rolling in a consistent direction, line by line. This helps minimize roller marks and gives you a much cleaner final finish. As we mentioned, it's best to go line by line once the sealer's applied. It helps even out the surface and gives a clean, consistent finish. 2 coats of sealer, and here's the final look. What do you think, guys? Best part? No ripping up tiles or adding cement sheets. It's all over the existing surface. And once again, here's the final look. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed it.